Recently, there's been a lot of debate about the fan service in Snezhnaya, and more specifically, whether the characters in Snezhnaya should be completely covered in warm, thick clothes, or if they should keep the revealing designs that show a lot of skin despite the fact that it's an extremely cold region. This comment, with over 1,000 likes for example, thinks that the characters in Snezhnaya should have no hip windows, no visible breasts, fully covered sleeves, and fully covered legs. Yeah, I don't know about that one, buddy. Now the question is, would this even be a good thing or not? And is Hoyoverse actually going to do it this time? Well, before we talk about that, let me introduce you to my partner, U7Buy. On U7Buy, you can save over 25% when buying Genesis crystals, which is much cheaper than buying them in-game. Now, don't worry, they top up through official providers, and they also have over 45,000 reviews on Trustpilot, so it's completely safe to use. If you want to top up, all you have to do is just click on whatever you want, enter your UID and server, and the Genesis crystals will arrive on your account just like that. Just make sure to check the actual price at checkout before you buy, and you can also use my code to get a 25% off on top of your purchase. So if you want to top up and save some money at the same time, click the link in the video description or the pinned comment, and make sure to check out U7Buy. And now let's get back to the video. Alright, so first things first, why don't we take a look at what the community thinks about this issue and what expectations the Western player base has for Snezhnaya characters. This video, with over 600,000 likes for example, is pretty interesting. It says, by the way Hoyoverse, this is what people wear in cold regions, heavy clothing that covers the entire body. Now let's see what the comments are saying. Do you think Genshin Impact is grounded in realism? It's grounded in misogyny. Why are all the men covered up but not the women? Bro, the fact that there's people who think like this is crazy. The fan service for male and female characters has always been different simply because fashion works differently on both sides. Exposed skin on male characters doesn't always look the same or as good as on female characters. Thigh highs and dresses, for example, usually look good on female characters, and things like heavy armor or coats usually look better on male characters. That's just how it works. And a lot of players will say something like, oh, but then why don't they make the male characters shirtless and give them short pants? Well, they can't, because then they're most likely going to end up looking like NPCs. What I will say though is, they could definitely give the male characters some more muscles and show them off like they do in HSR. However, even if they're not doing that, it still doesn't make them misogynistic. That's not what it means. The problem is just that the less clothes you have on a character, the less interesting you're able to make the design. The difference is simply that with female characters, you're able to show a lot of skin while also having a unique design, and with male characters, you don't really have that much options to show skin without making the character look like an absolute goofball. Things like thigh highs, hip windows, and sleeves with exposed shoulders or fully exposed legs simply don't look as good on most male characters as they do on female characters. Now obviously this depends on your preferences and everything, but I'm pretty sure that I can speak for the majority of people when I say that Varka in thigh highs and hip windows probably wouldn't look good. The same way that for most people, heavy armor for example wouldn't look as good on Lauma as it would on Varka. Hoyoverse is not misogynistic for simply sticking to traditional fashion and design standards. Anyway, let's move on with the comments. It's too hard to animate. They are a billion-dollar company, they can suck it up. Not a single person ever said this, by the way. This person is just talking to a wall. The Tsaritsa would slay in this one. I actually agree. An outfit like that would look really good on her, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna happen, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. They will use the vision holders protect themselves from the cold excuse, but all the male characters will be covered from head to toe like a Notcry. Once again, this statement makes absolutely no sense. It's the exact same thing that we just talked about earlier. It's gonna be something dumb like, we all wear amulets that keep us warm. Is this person aware of the fact that it's quite literally a fantasy game? It's not supposed to be realistic. The funny part is, no one complained about things like that when it came to the fact that we could stay underwater for unlimited time in Fontaine. But now that the characters don't need to wear trench coats and be covered from head to toe, all of a sudden, realism matters, and now it's suddenly an issue. And as you can see, there's plenty of other videos just like that one, where all these people just complain, and all these people want the characters in Snezhnaya to be fully covered from head to toe, and they basically want fan service to be completely removed from the game. Especially now that we are going into Snezhnaya, which is a very cold region. Now, I want to make something clear. Playing Genshin, but then not liking the fan service is quite literally the same as playing Black Ops but then not liking guns. It makes absolutely zero sense. Fan service is the whole reason why Hoyo games are even successful in the first place. Fan service is a fundamental part of this game. It has always been a part of it, and it always will be, because it's simply one of the foundations that this game is built on. This game is made specifically for people who like fan service. The target audience are people who enjoy fan service and like it when the characters are hot. I'm not saying all the characters should be completely naked either. In fact, my second favorite character is completely covered. Arlecchino is covered from head to toe. But what I'm saying is, you can't go into a game that thrives off of fan service and then go in there and ask them to completely exterminate it out of the game and remove it all. If you don't like fan service or a little bit of skin here and there, that's completely fine. I understand that. But fact is, it's a core part of Hoyo games, and these games are made for people who like that. And quite frankly, it doesn't really matter if these characters show skin or not, because ultimately they're fictional characters in a fictional game. They're not real. And no, it doesn't translate to real life in any way. Just like people who play shooters don't actually shoot people in real life, people who play gacha games with a lot of fan service are not going to treat real women as if they're objects just because they play gacha games. It's basic common sense. I don't know why people don't understand that. But back to Snezhnaya and what Hoyoverse is actually going to end up doing. I'm gonna be completely honest, guys. There's 100% going to be fan service, but I don't think they're going to just straight up give everyone bare legs. I'm quite sure it's going to be similar to Fontaine in terms of designs. Overall, I think this whole fan service drama is a complete non-issue because it's a fantasy game. Who cares what type of clothes the characters are going to wear? It's not real life. It doesn't matter. And lastly, the Cryo Archon, the Tsaritsa, is probably going to be the most interesting one. And I already know there's going to be so many complaints from people who won't like the fact that she's going to be friendly towards the Traveler, but it is what it is. Personally, I actually kind of hope that too. I hope she will be a little bit more unique compared to all the other Archons and be more cold. Although, that's 99% not going to happen. Let's be realistic, guys, because that's just not how it works in Hoyo games. But at the end of the day, it's not really that deep. With that being said, let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the Tsaritsa. And as always, I wish everyone a nice and wonderful day.